Hey guys, we just got done with round 8 where we scored 2 nice wins. And well, let's start with my game. I was playing Mikkel Jacobsen here, who's about 2150 FIDE, and he's I think 18 or 19. So he surprises me in the opening with this b6 line.
Yeah, that's a little odd.
This is the same as Eugene played.
Oh, okay.
So I think he was just wanting to follow my game, and maybe he did some prep in this line. I was thinking either he wanted to go for this, like Eugene did, or he might take on f3.
Yeah, with g3 this is playable now.
Because he's a Slav player, I thought he might go for this kind of thing.
c6 and d5.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very solid.
And, I mean, just kind of playable for black. So, of course, I wanted to avoid his prep. And then he plays g6 here, which I think is really dubious because, well, I haven't played g3 yet.
Right.
Instead I got knight c3, so now after queen c2...
Now you turn on e4 and get the full center.
Yeah, I just get a big center. So I thought maybe he should just go for like a Grunfeld, like this. But, I mean, it should be a good line, and he's not a Grunfeld player, so I thought I would
it's a double-edged. You can even play h4.
Yeah, I think so. So I would be happy there. So then he takes here, which is really surprising.
Because you haven't played g3 yet.
Yeah. So I took towards the center, but I think ef3 maybe even stronger. With the idea to put the bishop on g5.
Castle maybe the other and h4, h4.
Yeah, and then put a rook on e1.
Yeah, it's playable too, because b6 is misplaced.
Oh yeah, big time. So I took bishop g7, e4, knight h5,
bishop e3,
and bishop e3. Yeah, so he starts playing really, I mean, really unorthodox, like knight c6.
Gives up full control over the center.
Yeah, like
e5.
all pawns. I mean, that's what I ended up playing. I thought castles was also very interesting here. I
looks logical.
His idea is e5.
And then he wants to establish knight on d4.
Yeah, but I felt like, okay, as long as I don't give him this, but I should just take. And I thought this should be really good for white.
And f4 is a big threat. He can't really stop it. Yeah, if the queen f6, knight d5, yeah, this is just bad.
Yeah.
Okay,
I have so much pressure on the d file that this was good, but I always like grabbing space, so I just pushed e5.
Yeah, that looks strong. f4 is coming.
What he should have done was this move c5. And this is actually, I think, really playable for black because he just fights for all the dark squares. And then d5, he has this weird move e5.
Interesting. Yeah, I would not have thought of that.
Yeah, I mean,
he's playing like King's Indian without the light square bishops.
Right.
It's a little odd King's Indian.
yeah, it's very unusual, but I guess...
With the pawn on b6.
d6, queen f6. Yeah, but after knight c6, e5, now I think white has a big advantage. Then he surprised me again, f6.
Ooh, that looks ugly.
Yeah, I was very skeptical. But d6, the problem is he already played b6, so this knight on c6 is now so weak.
f4, bishop g2, big advantage.
Yeah, f4, or I was planning actually to just castle.
Yeah, that looks pretty good too.
And then take, and white just takes over. So f6, I thought about e6.
That's interesting.
And the computer...
That reminds me of my Carlsen game, where I sacked the pawn.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like a positional sack. The computer points out f5, and somehow this is working. During the game, I only considered takes and d5, and white has a lot of play, but I ended up going for simple f4.
Yeah, f4 looks good enough.
And now I thought, okay, if he castles, I'll just castle
long.
And if he puts the knight on f4, it just doesn't stay here very long because I have queen e4.
Yeah, that's a big edge.
And
h4, h5 is coming.
Yeah, it just seems like a good position for white. I have all these attacking ideas. But the tactics ended up to be really, really nice. So he played e6. I mean, very, very provocative move. And
well, asking for d5.
Yeah.
Right, guys?
So I obliged. And, okay, he played knight e7. Now, I'm not sure I played it the best way, but I decided to just take on e6 immediately. I could also castle.
Yeah, castle looks interesting. If he takes, you take on e6.
Yeah, I think this is good. Actually, we actually get the game position here, just in a different move order.
Oh, okay.
But I think castles would have been a better way to reach it.
So he took on e5 or something?
Yeah, after I took on e6, he took here, and I castled. Yeah. But, I don't know, the engine points out that he can go for this. My plan was like rook d1, and to give this check.
King f7.
And after king f7, I wanted knight e4. And it looked really dangerous to me because you can't take on e5.
Oh no, and rooks come to d7 at some lines.
Yeah, but it's not like I'm not winning just yet. I still have to
some work
to break through. But yeah, I have like bishop e2,
bishop
g1. Yeah. So, but objectively, that's what he should go for. But he took here. Castles. Now, if he plays d6, this is kind of what I expected. My plan, I think, was to give this check again. c6 is really
weakening.
Yeah. So king f8, then take.
Maybe knight d5 at some point.
Yeah, knight d5. And I have f4 coming.
Bishop g5.
Bishop e2, bishop g5, bishop h6. It's like everything's in white favor. Tough. So I was looking forward to that. Then he surprised me again with e takes f4. So I took on d7 with the rook.
Yeah, that looks good with the tempo.
Queen c8. And here actually, maybe I didn't go for the best line. Now, if you guys want to calculate here, this is a great position to pause and try to figure out what you would play here with white. I guess I'm a little bit skeptical of my decision because I don't actually have to sacrifice anything to win here, right? I can just play bishop d2 and he can't castle knight d5. I mean, it's just a winning position. But I calculated a forced line with rook e7 and it looked really good.
Yeah, I mean, the king is stuck in the center, so it has to work somehow.
Yeah, the idea is that my pieces are coming in and he can never take this e6 pawn because king e6 is bishop h3.
Yep, skewer.
And if he comes up, I just made him with c5.
That's nice.
Take, and then it's like queen and two bishops is just game over.
That's a nice game, yeah.
And the pawn also helping. So this line was cool. And after king f8, my idea is to play bishop h3.
e7 is a big threat.
And e7. And then I thought, okay, queen b7. I wasn't sure if I have anything here. I was planning to just drop back. And I think white's only down in exchange, but should be completely winning because bishop c3, bishop b4.
Both rooks are out of play, so that's should be bad for sure.
I mean, yeah, it just looks so good. I have this thread as well, like rook e1, check, and then bishop e6. And I think it's just game over. So he played king e8, which I thought was best, and then I had this next move in mind, bishop d3.
With the idea sack on g6.
Just sack on g6. And now this was at a really interesting moment because I knew he still has one move here to keep the game going, king f8. Which is a really strong defensive move because now I don't have bishop h3. And the idea of king f8 is that he's starting to take on e6. I didn't point that out, but he can't take on e6 here either after bishop d3 because of knight c7, of course.
Family 4, guys.
But king f8, if I take on g6, he takes on e6 and things are not clear.
That's a little messy.
I think my plan was to insert this check, king f7, and then I think drop back with the bishop and just play this position. But it's not clear. I mean, I actually have this move rook g1 also, with the idea of taking on g6.
And sack, yeah.
But I felt like the position was just going to be fine as well, but the game's not over yet, for sure.
It's still a fight. Maybe c6, you can try to get back in the game.
So what's interesting is that after I played bishop d3, you know, I got up from the board very confidently, and my idea was to just convince him that he's lost.
Right.
And that he would just take the bishop and just, you know, kind of resign.
Yep.
And then that's what happened. When I came back, he like didn't spend any time. He just took on e3. But king f8 would have kept the game going. Okay, so here the engine points out an amazing move. And if you guys want to pause the video and try to find the strongest move for white, this would be your chance. During the game, I didn't consider this at all, but bishop f5 is like such a knockout.
e7 is a threat, and if he takes queen takes f5, it's probably a mate.
Yeah, the queen comes in. And
wow, that move is going to be hard to
immediate
play
checkmate.
F5 in a game.
Yeah, I mean, I think here if I like pause and look at my options, maybe I'll see it because the idea of bishop h3 is already existing.
Yeah, the lesson, guys, look for unusual candidate moves.
Yeah, but that was a really cool one. In any case, he took on e3, which allows me to kind of demonstrate my idea. So now I'm a full rook down, but I sack another piece, and the knight and pawn are just coordinating perfectly. So if he doesn't take the bishop, I queen and I win his queen, and that's just going to be game over. After he takes, it's not immediate checkmate. I do have to be precise here with the move queen f7.
And e7 is a threat.
So e7, e8.
And so what does he do here?
I thought the only move is rook e8.
But then you have the d file. Maybe you can get the knight involved.
And, well, this was the line I saw. Rook d1, e2, and I have a nice mate. e7.
e7 check. Knight f6. And d5.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice game. Beautiful mate.
So because of this line, he resigned. Actually, I can take on b6 here as well, which I thought was cool.
Because he's also mated there.
Yeah, he gets mated on b5.
Yeah.
But the computer points out this one, queen f3, which is just so silly to me. And then he has all these squares, but queen b5 is just mate.
Wow, that's a really nice mate. Yeah.
So this was cool coordination. And yeah, so when I played rook e7, I already had this position in mind when the game was over, so I felt nice about this.
That's why I tell my students, don't forget your castle, because it looks like black forgot your castle in this game.
Yeah. All right, but you beat a much higher rated opponent.
Yes, I beat your the guy who beat you.
That's right.
I took revenge. So I'm playing white against a very strong grandmaster from Hungary, Benjamin Gludur. He's about 26-30, and I played an opening that I haven't played probably in 20 years or more, the Vienna.
Yeah.
After e4, e5, knight c3. If you guys want to learn more about this opening, please feel free to check out my website, chessopeningsexplained.com, where I cover many cool opening ideas. But in this game, we go into the main line. f4, and the whole point is that it's almost like an improved king's gambit. So now if he takes on f4, the knight on f6 is going to get hit with e5.
Right.
So now this is the main line. When somebody attacks you in the wing, counter strike in the center. So this is all well-known theory. I took, and I played queen f3, knight takes, and I took with the b pawn rather than the d pawn. And the idea is to play d4 and have a very powerful pawn chain. So here, bishop e7 is what he played. I should point out that c5 has been known as the main line. And here there are many different ideas, including bishop b5 check, and eventually both sides castle on opposite wings, and it's a really good fighting game.
Yeah.
He plays bishop e7, d4 and c5. All right, so just normal development moves. Bishop d3, pawn takes. That kind of surprised me. I thought that keeping the tension should favor black. He should castle in knight c6. But okay, he had a very specific idea in mind. Queen a5 check. I thought that he'll play bishop b4 check, and I actually wanted to play king d1, which is a funny move. Even though earlier game showed us you should castle, this is an exception. Why do you guys think this is an exception, that white's king is safe on d1?
Yeah, it's an important difference here, right?
Yeah, the reason is because the center is completely closed and there's a lot of pawns protecting the king, and the rook can enter the game or b1, and this guy can, after h4, can enter the game already. Whereas both of my bishops are lined up against the king, so I'm going to play knight e2, knight f4, knight h5, and just start a really strong attack. So in the game he plays queen a5 check, and then bishop b4, and I'm happy to sack the a2 pawn. If he takes take on a2, he's got no development. I'm going to play knight e2, castle, and just checkmate him.
Right.
So he correctly doesn't go for the pawn. I play knight e2. He goes after my strong bishop. And so here I just basically played castle. And this was the first critical moment of the game, guys. I think I missed a really powerful sacrifice, which I did calculate during the game, but I wasn't sure about. In the game I played knight g3, which is good enough, but this was really an instructive moment. And just kind of play strengthen move knight f4. I'm down a piece, but c3 is a big threat. Queen h5 is a big threat. Doubling up followed by queen h5 and knight g6 is a big threat.
Yeah, I mean, this would be kind of like slow moving sacrifice.
Very
right?
slow moving, but I just didn't quite feel, I would have to calculate this pretty accurately. My intuition was right, but I wasn't sure if it works. So I played probably the second best move, knight g3, queen b6. And here again I had a chance to play bishop f5 and kind of get my knight on f5, but I played c3, which I felt is strong enough. And finally, let's assess this position. So I've got the beautiful pawn chain. So the c3, d4, e5. This knight is coming to h5, and he's got no defenders around the king. And the key here in this game is to play the dark squares, because he's got light square bishop, so the bishop cannot guard the dark squares.
Yeah, it looks really good for white.
And white, rather black, has no counterplay here, so he just kind of sits back. So I played h3 to restrict the bishop, rook e3 to stop bishop b5, knight h5, here comes the knight transfer to f4, and he protects. So now the next stage of my plan is to kick that queen out. So I did this, and rook g3, and now I doubled up, rather tripled up. And the idea is at some point to either play c4 or to take on e6, and he's got back rank problems. He plays this move. And again, here I had an interesting opportunity to play c4. If pawn takes, then d5, and d6 just wins. But I calculated that he can try to take with a rook. And after takes, queen takes, rook f7. I wasn't sure about this position. Even this endgame is not obviously winning. Yes, I'm up a pawn because I get to take on a7, but is this really winning? Because there are a lot of positions, let's say, where the e and the d pawn get traded and his rook goes to d2 and a2, it's just a draw.
Yeah, this would be very, very tough to win.
So that's not what I had in mind. So I thought for a long time how to break through. I look at knight h5, rook g3, queen g3, and he just plays rook g8 on every move. So it turns out that this position is not so easy to crack. So I just played queen g3, and king h2, just a solid move, making sure that there's no checks anytime. In the future, he plays b5 to get some counterplay. Queen e1, the main idea of queen e1 is to play to protect the pawn, and now the knight can get transferred to d3 and c5 on someone. So I'm kind of transferring the advantage to the other side because I've kind of exhausted my possibilities. And here is where my opponent got really ambitious. He started with this counterplay, and it looks as though he is completely crashing through, because if I take on b4, he can take the d pawn, and out of a sudden I thought I'm losing the kind of the thread of the game. But luckily, now that his piece is shifted to the other side, I'm gonna play on the king side, knight h5. And here he made a really horrendous blunder. He just took on c3, and I think he really underestimated this position. I think he planned to play this move c2, and he thought that, okay, after takes, check, queen takes, pawn takes, queen, if I give a check, everything's under control with this move.
So this is the line that he calculated?
Yes. And it looks good. He's winning.
Yeah.
But there's a problem. When you calculate long lines, guys, you tend to forget simple moves. And the simple move here, instead of rook takes h7, why don't you try to find it? The move that occurred to me instantly.
Right.
And so probably he saw it immediately too.
Actually, funnily enough, I was watching the game live on my phone.
Yeah.
And when he took on c3, I couldn't believe. And I also found the move like very quickly, right? Because it's just like, I mean, so natural.
And I guess you want to put the queen on h6. That's kind of a hint for everybody. And you don't want to play queen e3 or queen d2 because he queens. But you have only one square, and that one square is sufficient.
Yeah, it's a beautiful move.
And there is no stopping queen h6 no matter what, and it's made.
Yeah, that's such an interesting moment. I mean, a lot of players will play over the game and be like, bc3, what a blunder.
Right.
Not realizing that like his mistake was just kind of going for this deep line when he didn't. He should have widened.
When he should have just completely widened his. So the right move here is obviously just to play rook g8. And if I take on b4, he's going to take on d4. And again, that's my position is slightly, it's getting opened up. His pieces coming in, and the king side, no attack.
Yeah.
So I would have to find, I think, this accurate move, queen f2. With the idea being is after takes. For instance, he wants to try this move, queen h4. And now I have this interesting possibility. Takes. And now utilizing the poorly placed queen with this tactic. And if pawn takes, then I take, and I win the queen using discovery. And if he plays some rook c8 move, here there's another beautiful tactic. Why don't you guys try to solve it? So white to play and win. And again, the idea is using a very nice rook takes g7 discovery.
Mating pattern. Mating
pattern, knight and rook. And mate.
Beautiful.
So that means even after queen f2, I think my advantage, I think he should just maybe just trade everything off. I think my advantage is still pretty substantial here, because now he's weakened a7 pawn. Maybe I can play queen c2, rook c7, or I can kind of shift back and forth.
Yeah.
It's a good knight against the bad bishop, or knight can come to c5 at some point.
Right. Yeah, still a plus for white.
But it's still a long game. But let me show you how the game finished.
Yeah, the finish was really nice.
The finish was really beautiful. So he realized that c2 is no good. He plays rook takes d4, thinking to complicate matters, but I simply, obviously queen c1, rook d2, he's going to block me. But now I find another square, queen e3. And so he's already in terrible time trouble. Doesn't know what to do. He tries this last trick. I'm not even sure what this trick is all about. Maybe if pawn takes queen h4 check or something.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, it's just, I think, desperation.
Just desperation. I didn't want to pay attention to that bishop, guys. You just want to focus on checkmate. Remember, checkmate wins the game. Queen h6. Now he takes on e5 with check, and I just simply block, and he plays one more move. And now can you find the finishing touch, after which my opponent duly resigned? A move which threatens checkmate, from which there is no defense. Because right now there is nothing forced here. g7 is covered, rook on g3 is pinned.
Mm-hmm.
And the move here, guys, is very simple. Dark squares. You remember the theme? Every single piece except the pawns are on the dark square. And now the threat is rook takes h7 that cannot be stopped.
Yeah, what a great final position.
Final position deserves a diagram.
Yeah.
So that felt good to beat such a strong player, but at the same time I have to say I did get a gift. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't his best day.
Right, could have defended better.
He could have defended much better.
Yeah, it's funny. Our games seem similar, but you know, you developed the attack over so many moves.
Right.
And then my game was just like going
immediate,
super aggressive right from the opening. But all right, we have the last round tomorrow, and we're both playing to get a high placing. So wish us luck, and we'll be back here with our last video.
Yeah. All right, guys. See you later.